third generation beekeeper. My father and my granddad started the beekeeping operation. They purchased a migratory beekeeping operation, which the bees went from South Dakota, where they raised a honey crop, and then in the wintertime they took them to Oklahoma for the climate, because it was too cold up in South Dakota, so they took them to Oklahoma. So they raised honey for a while, and they decided after a while that they didn't really like selling their honey to somebody else and letting them take care of it. So they were very entrepreneurial, and so they started a packaging operation, which is still in our family today. The United States producers raise approximately 140 to 150 million pounds of honey a year. As consumers in the United States, we consume somewhere around 450 million pounds of honey a year. In our facility, honey comes in a 55-gallon drum. And that 55-gallon drum weighs about 700 pounds. The first thing that we do with it when it comes to our place is we test it. We do an extensive amount of testing, as do most of the large packers in the United States. And the honey that comes in from overseas, the imported honey, is tested not only by us, but also by FDA when it comes into the country. It goes through some testing. When that honey comes in a crystallized form, one of the first things we do is we warm that honey. And we have to warm it up so that it goes back to liquid. As you know, honey is very viscous. It flows very slow when it's cool or so forth. And we send it through a paper filter. And that paper filter is a series of papers that are set in a contraption that looks like an accordion, kind of. And that honey flows through those papers and it takes out the particles that we don't want to have in honey. There's always things that come from producers that are undesirable in the honey. Sometimes it's wax, sometimes it's dust particles and things like that. And the other thing we're taking out is most of the pollen particles. The pollen particles are not necessary in honey. The reason that we filter honey is because in a study that the National Honey Board did in the last couple of years, one thing that consumers really want is they want a clear and golden product. They want it to be shelf stable, and they don't want it to crystallize. And those are all reasons that you have to filter honey. That's my job as a honey packer, is to make sure and provide the consumer with a high quality product. Our goal is to make consumers like the product that we're so passionate about. We have passion about the bees and the product that we're packaging and the quality of the product that we're providing for the consumer.